Hi there guys, it's Pip here from pipwheatley.com. Today I want to talk to you about sort of history and the power that generations past have given us. So this house that I'm in now, I live with my brother and we've been here for over a year now, and we're very lucky. This house is new, but it does already have a lot of history. And the reason that is because this house was helped to buy with funds from my grandparents' will, and also our father's will as well. Our father passed away about 2 years ago now. So we wouldn't have been able to get that without them, and we're very lucky in one sense to have that. Now it's funny because looking back at how our grandparents lived, they were certainly not the type of people who were overly materialistic. What I mean by that is, although they could afford things later in life, and they often like to treat their families, their grandkids in particular, they didn't live a life that was full of luxuries and sort of modern technology as we have today. Things weren't available by logging onto eBay, and there were no such things as computers. You know, they grew up during a time that was very hard. Both my sets of grandparents went through the war. My dad's grandparents in particular, my grandfather used to live in Portsmouth, and basically he came home one day to find that the whole street had just been obliterated, you know, the bombs, and he kind of was left with more or less nothing, his family then. But he was an intelligent man, and he worked his way up. He was president of the Radiological Society of Protection, so he was quite an academic man. He worked in Geneva, and he was very intent on you know, making sure people who worked with radiology were safe, and you know, that there was kind of investigations into how much exposure people were getting, and he did do a lot of hard work. My paternal grandmother, she was a teacher. She used to walk to school in all weather. She wasn't a keen driver, and she did that for many years. Now my grandparents never really talked about what it is that they did. You know, I believe my grandfather, in particular the one who worked at Geneva, was very well respected, and he really put in a lot of hard work, went to a lot of meetings over the years, a lot of dedication for the Society for Radiological Protection. And it's funny because he didn't sort of blow it all, he didn't sort of you know, just have whatever he wanted. He was comfortable, but he didn't blow it all. He passed it down through the generations, and hence why myself and my brother have been fortunate enough to buy this property. We are very lucky indeed. Now, the reason I'm talking about my grandparents is because they came from two different sides. So as I say, on one side my paternal grandparents were rather academic. My mother's grandfather was very sort of a skilled labourer. He was very hands-on, very good with his hands, and he worked a manual job. He worked in kind of engineering, I believe, which is passed down to some of my uncles, and he had not the easiest life in the world. They had 6 kids, lived in a 3-bedroom house. You can imagine what that was like. My grandmother suddenly suffered the onset of arthritis, which meant she couldn't do a job as a secretary. She used to cycle for absolutely miles down roads that are nowadays quite dangerous, on a bike with no gears, up and down the hills, and you know, quite inspiring people in their own way, very determined, and again quite dedicated to their family. My mother's family obviously weren't very rich. She used to have hand-me-downs from her sister, which was fine, apart from they were 10 years out of date, and obviously that meant she was obviously not with the in crowd. But we were very lucky to have those two very different sets of grandparents. And the thing is, today they're no longer with us, and I hope that when you look back on your ancestors, you feel that they have given you something, not necessarily finance, but at least a sense of integrity, maybe a sense of durability, stamina, a sense of right and wrong, a sense of what's important in life, and I hope that we're able to carry on in a way that makes them proud. And I certainly don't want to squander kind of the funds or the kind of moral values that were kind of handed down to me. Not that they were ever said outright, but they were always slowly inferred underneath by the way that people behaved, people acted. And I feel that we really need, although we are a generation that has everything that we want at a touch of a button, we need to make sure that that integrity is carried on through in what we do. For me, that means I've started my business. I do want to look after my family, and that's very important for me. At the minute, we're a little bit spread out. I do have my brother here. I've got another brother who is about 70 miles away, and my mum is about 100 miles away. And I feel that I'm not sure that's what my grandparents would have wanted. And family is very important. No one knows when you're going to go. You don't have to be old or ill to die, believe it or not. Things do happen. It's very important that we look after our families and really spend some time to discover, I think, what is important to us. And we might be really surprised to find that it's not actually the materialistic things, it's the things that we've been given for free. Our families, love of our country and our language and the way that we are, our culture. Might be the dreams that we're given for free, the kind of things that we want to do, the way our mind works, our health. Even if you're ill or maybe you're in pain. I listen to meditation in the morning by a guy called Jonathan Lehman. He's a French gentleman, and he always says, even if you are in pain or you are ill, we can all thank life that have given us bodies to help us live up to this present day. And I think that is so true. So like me, just spend some time to really discover what is important to you. It's not going to come straight away. I think it's a long road of discovery, it certainly is for me, but I know that I definitely want to find my passion, and definitely want to work towards that. I do want to make my life worthwhile, and that matters to me. And I hope that with this business I work or live in a way, no matter, even if it doesn't work out, I hope that I live in a way that is in accordance with their values and things that really are important to life. So that's all from me. I hope you're well, and obviously feel free to comment below. I'm always there for you, and there's lots of blogs I put on at pipwheatley.com. Feel free to check that out, and they're there just to talk with you about things that come up in our lives that maybe block us from discovering our stuff and how far we can stretch and really kind of make our dreams, discover our dreams, and actually make them a reality, because we all have some major stuff within us. I was listening to Les Brown this morning, and he said you can do things that you can't even begin to imagine. And again, I actually believe that's true. I think that everybody out here has unlimited potential, but we need to use our minds to do that. So feel free to check them out. As I say, they're at pipwheatley.com. And of course check out my Facebook page as well. It's pipwheatley.com again, so it's pretty easy to find. So that's all from me, and until next time, you take care. Bye bye now.